We're not used to title sponsorships for races when it comes to E-Prix, but here we are. It's the Season 11 finale. I can't believe I'm saying this. Welcome to the 2025 Marvel Fantastic Four London E-Prix. And we'll start off with the schedule for the Season 11 finale, a title decider, and like I said, it's sponsored by the latest release in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In UK time and in local time for this weekend, we have free practice 1 at 4 o'clock on Friday, followed by FP2 at 10 AM on Saturday, qualifying at 20 past 12, and the E-Prix for round 15 at 5:05 PM. That is basically repeated for Sunday's action as well, FP3 at 10 AM, qualifying at 12:20 on Sunday, and then the finale, round 16 of the 16-round Season 11 Championship at 5:05 PM. So 5 o'clock local time on Saturday and Sunday. Sit down and watch the finale to what's been a great season. And it's been a great season despite the fact that the Drivers' Championship is already wrapped up. Oliver Rowland comes into this on 184 points. He's 59 clear of Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein's not going to be able to make up that advantage here in London, so we have a British champion doing a victory lap on home soil. Wehrlein, however, is still in a battle for second in the championship. He is 13 points clear of another local driver, Taylor Barnard, who will be in McLaren's final E-Prix. Behind Barnard, another 9 points back, is Antonio Felix da Costa, 22 behind his teammate on 103. And then 1 point behind him on 102 is our most recent race winner, Nick Cassidy, in 5th. John-Eric Verne could be just about in the offering for that battle for second. He'd need a miracle weekend. He's on 89 points in 6th. Likewise, Dan Ticktum in 7th on 82. Aidan Mortaro in 8th on 80. And then even the likes of Max Günther and 79 points in 9th for Jake Dennis, the champion in Season 9, who is on 77 points. But the Teams Championship and the Manufacturers Championships are also still up in the air. Nissan are trailing Porsche by 23 points going into this finale, with Penske in 3rd on 168 to Porsche's 228 and Nissan's 205, and 162 for Jaguar. Head of McLaren on 143. They're sporting a one-off livery for their finale this time around. It's nice and blue. Whilst Mahindra are on 142, Andretti on 125. Then you've got Maserati on 90, Envision on 86, Cooper Kiro on 82, and Lola Yamaha on 30. So realistically, you've got a couple of different battles. I would say first is a battle, and it depends on how Norman Nato is in that finale, and it depends on any kind of bad luck for any of the Porsche drivers, which has happened a few times this season. Then you have the battle for 3rd and 4th between Penske and Jaguar. And then I'd say 5th and 6th, because they're already separated by 1 point for Mahindra and McLaren. Andretti could get themselves into the offering there, but it would be a miracle weekend in a way. Meanwhile, I would say that Maserati, Envision and Cooper are in a battle over 8th. And then Lola Yamaha, I think, are a bit on their own on those 30 points in 11th. But for the manufacturers, Porsche only lead Nissan by 7 points, and that is the best 2 for each manufacturer. So for Nissan, that is McLaren and Nissan. For Porsche, it can be any one of a couple of them, can't it? You could have Cooper Kiro, you could have Porsche, you could have, by that I mean the likes of Cooper Kiro or Andretti. So you have a wealth of different drivers that could come together to help them out there. 3rd place is also closely thought between Jaguar and Stellantis. That is 27 points. Again, less likely to swing, but could still swing. Whereas Mahindra in 5th on 169. They're the only people who are supplying powertrains to Mahindra this year. So it's hard to win when you're the only ones on your own supply. Likewise, Lola in 6th. Now, like I said, last year was also a title decider. Pascal Wehrlein getting 1st in the first race and 2nd in the second race was able to take the championship from Mitch Evans at the final curtain call. He was 2nd behind Oliver Rowland in the second race. Rowland, you could argue, was setting the scene for what happened this season. Elsewhere on the podium in the first race was Sebastian Buemi, but you saw 4th and 5th in race 1 for the 2 Mahindras of De Vries and Mortara. And the top 5 in the second race is rounded out by Buemi and John-Eric Verne for Penske. So you had a variety of different powertrains performing well. Some luck, some not so lucky. Look at the kind of different safety cars that we had for different collision damages. Granted, we didn't have the drama of a couple of years ago with the pit stop that led to multiple overtakes. Was that Degrassi? I feel like it was. But yeah, it's an interesting track, the XL1. Part inside, part out, and especially if the weather comes into play, it can generate some wild moments. And the weather full well could come into play. Whilst it's expected not to rain over the course of Friday, on Saturday there's a likelihood of rain of around 48% precipitation on the Saturday at the start of the E-Prix, and then on Sunday it's at 39%. And in fact, building up to the race, there is a chance of rain and maybe a bit of drizzle as well. We're not talking thunderstorms, we're not talking torrential downpour, but we are talking potentially wet racing. And that has an impact because of the fact that the XL race is part indoors, part outdoors. The pit complex is inside of the XL Centre, and you end up seeing them using the supply roads around the facility to get into and out of the conference centre. And as a result, you've got some bits that are covered and some bits that aren't. I mean, remember that historic hairpin complex that you can see in the background that's no longer there because of all of the dramas that it caused in the first couple of second generation London E-Prix. I say second generation because the first ones were Battersea Park with that title decider. But yeah, what could happen? It is very hard to make a prediction on what could happen, actually. So I'm just going to leave the video there. Let me know any thoughts or feelings you have in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching and joining, folks, and hope to see you on Sunday when we can do a full recap for all of this stuff. Potentially Monday, depending on what goes on in the F1. But until then, it's bye for now.